Welcome to Revelation Unraveled. I'm your host, William Tapley, also known as the third eagle of the apocalypse and the co-prophet of the end times. About a month ago, I made a program on two hugely viral videos called Gangnam Style and Call Me Maybe. And I pointed out that those two videos are announcing the arrival of the Antichrist. And several of my subscribers sent me messages saying that I should look at the numerology in those videos. And you were right. And I thank you for pointing this out to me. The numerology in these videos are trying to tell us that the Antichrist will be victorious in the end times. In other words, that 666, which is the number of the Antichrist in Bible prophecy, will defeat 555, which is the number of Mary's rosary. And of course we know from Scripture that just the opposite is the fact. 555 will defeat 666. So first of all, let's take a look at this scene from Gangnam Style, which proves that this video is about these end times, because this video shows us the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Now in this scene inside a horse barn exercising area, of course we see the four horsemen of the apocalypse. 1, 2, 3, 4. One of the more ridiculous scenes occurs early on in the Gangnam Style video, and that's what I call the flying garbage scene. I think this also indicates that Psy is impersonating the Antichrist. All the garbage flies into his face, and of course later on in the video we see him sitting on the toilet, and we also see him lusting after a girl exercising in short shorts. I think he is trying to tell us that this Antichrist figure is a very lowly, despicable person associated with garbage, the toilet, and so on. But it's interesting that in this flying garbage scene, the most prominent number appears on one of the columns. Let's take a look. Now on this flying garbage scene, the most prominent number is on this column over here, and that is the number 18. Let's take a closer look. Now 18 can be broken down as 8 plus 1 equals 9, or of course as the Antichrist number of 6 plus 6 plus 6. So we see that Psy in this video is representing the Antichrist, and he has an antagonist, and that is the man dressed in yellow. And when this man dressed in yellow arrives on the scene, all the girls run away in fear. He symbolizes the enemy of the Antichrist, and he soon is defeated. But who does this man in yellow represent? First of all, of course, yellow symbolizes cowardice, and he is a loser. But the number associated with him can be found on his license plate. Let's take a look. Now when Mr. Yellow arrives on the scene in the parking lot, the most prominent number is, of course, on the license plate. And we see a double 5 on the right-hand side and another 5 on the left. Now in this dance-off between Psy and Mr. Yellow, Psy, of course, is victorious, and Mr. Yellow soon vacates the scene in his 555 convertible. So in this satanic version of the end times, we see that Antichrist, that is Psy, who is associated with the number 666, defeats the yellow coward who is associated with the number 555. In other words, this video, which is announcing the arrival of the Antichrist, is trying to tell us that the Antichrist will defeat Mary's rosary. And of course, that is the opposite of what Scripture says. This is Satan's propaganda. And now, let's take a look at the romantic interest of Psy, who is also a symbol of the Antichrist. Let's take a look at this girl who has 10 numbers and symbols on her shirt. Now in this subway car scene, the girl who was attracted to Psy wears a very prominent number 22. She also is wearing a Christian cross, but actually there are a total of 9 circles on her blouse. Let's take a closer look. Now in this view, we can see 9 of the 10 numbers on her shirt. There's a 72. This looks like an H or an N or maybe some other kind of symbol. This is a 45, a 22. There's an I or a 1 under here. There's a G, upside down 34. There's a B and an 11 here. On the back of this sleeve is a number 33. Now in this view, you can see the 3 most significant numbers, 33, 11, and 22, which of course add up to the number 66. So if you add up these 3 significant numbers, 11, 22, and 33, you get, of course, the number of the Antichrist, and that is 66. Therefore, both Cy and his girlfriend are symbolizing the Antichrist in these end times. And in this grand finale, I'll show you an image from it, we see that these 2 Antichrist figures have conquered the entire world with their horse rider dance. And in this picture, notice that all of the world's cultures and peoples are symbolized. Now in this final grand climax, we see Cy, representing the Antichrist, leading the entire world. And all these people, the masses of people, are all dressed in different national costumes, of course indicating that the Antichrist will rule the entire world. Now in the other viral hit video, Call Me Maybe, which is also announcing the arrival of the Antichrist, they are trying to give us the exact same message. Let's just review the words for that video. Hey, I just met you. That refers to the Antichrist introducing himself for the first time. This is crazy. That, of course, refers to the tribulation period in which the Antichrist introduces himself. And that's the 7 years that we are in now. Here's my number. Now, that does not refer to a telephone number, but that means the Antichrist is giving his number, that is 666, to everyone in the world. In other words, the mark of the beast. And the last phrase is the most interesting, call me maybe, because the Antichrist is telling us that that is his name. And the name maybe is very close to Mabus, which is what Nostradamus calls the Antichrist. Now, the story of this little video is that Carly Rae Jepsen is infatuated with her next-door neighbor, who is a huge hunk of a guy working on his automobile, shown as a very masculine, strong personality. And of course, the punchline or kicker of this video is that we discover that this guy is not what he seems at all, but he is a homosexual. And this video is trying to give us the same message as Gangnam Style. Because what is the number associated with this homosexual? Well, when he gives his telephone number to the male band member of the band, his telephone number starts with the number 555. And the homosexual's telephone number begins with the number 555. This is not accidental. So both these videos are trying to instill in your mind that the number 555 is associated with cowards, with losers, or with homosexuals. In other words, that number is weak and meaningless and will lose to the Antichrist number of 666. And of course, we know from Matthew, we know from Daniel, we know from Ezekiel that the number 555 will defeat the number 666. Mary's rosary is the weapon which Jesus will use to crush the Antichrist. And as always, I do offer a free copy of my book, Revelation Unraveled. If any of you are interested, you can write to the address you see on your screen or send me a message to my YouTube channel.